All right, guys, so here is my full disclaimer video. This story that I will tell will be 100% truthfully my story. And I will explain to you in detail a lot of things, because there will be some parts that might confuse you, and there may be some parts where you're like, sis, I got it. I understand that there will be comments that will be mean, that will be nasty. I also want you to know that there is nothing that anybody can say to me on Donald Trump's internet that will affect me mentally, physically, or emotionally, because the amount of abuse that I have done to myself about this situation, it don't even amount to what you could do to me, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna tell you that now. I will be 100% transparent on the things that I did in my relationship versus the things that he did. I am not looking for financial gain off of my story, but I do have the strength and the courage now to come forward because of Miss Risa Tisa. Shout out to Miss Risa Tisa. I'm so glad that I was able to endure what I did, because now I will never make that same mistake twice. I don't know how many parts of my story it will be. I pray and hope to God that it won't get all the way to 50. But then again, it may. It just may. There will be times where you will experience me crying, using a lot of profane language, saying some things that really do make me look like the dumbest bitch on earth. But I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to. The time is now. I feel that I can do this and I can be okay, because this is a part of the healing journey. Another thing that I do want you to know, it will not be hard for anybody to find out who my ex-husband is, because you guys are FBI detectives. I get that. A lot of people that follow me already know who my ex-husband is, so that's fine too. I will not use any names. He will have a nickname. It won't be his real name, and it won't be a name that I called him. It'll be something totally different. I'm very sensitive when it comes to my children, so they probably won't be in any of my videos, or it won't be in any of my parts. Just different things about them will be shared, but not everything. I will tell you that if someone from his family decides to reach out to me or tell me like, hey, I don't want you, spreading my, family member's name or whatever, I will not stop. I'm going to do it all. And you can come see about me. You can. And that's just going to be what it is. I want you guys to know wholeheartedly that our story is our story. You can't take it away from us. You can't even add anything to it, because we've been there, we've done it, and now it's time to let it rip. It's time for us to unfold, and I'm happy about it, because now I'm on the other side. And this will be a testimony for another woman, because sis, you may still be in it. You may be going through it, or you may be completely out of it. But I want to encourage you to also tell your story, because you never know who you helping. All right, guys, let's get to it. Hi, and welcome. I know I said earlier that this would be Who the Fuck Did I Get Married Season 2? But I want Miss Risa to get her flowers. So this series will be entitled The Lies He Told. Don't it sound like a Lifetime movie? Yeah. So buckle your seatbelt, because this is going to be a ride. All right. On January 5th, 2020, I contacted a restaurant called Phil and Derek's here in Houston. My best friend at the time, remember, I'm not saying anybody's government or real name, or nickname or what have you. My best friend Naya was in town for her birthday. Her birthday is January 5th. And we wanted to do brunch. We wanted to do Sunday Fun Day. We had an agenda that day, but we did not have any reservations at all. So I took it upon myself that morning to contact Phil and Derek's. And when I called, a gentleman answered the phone. Thanks for calling Phil and Derek's. This is Jared. How can I help you? I said, hi, Jared. My name is Julian. I'm trying to call to see if I can make a reservation today for a party of 5. Jared says, oh, that's impossible, Miss Jillian. We don't have any reservations, like same day reservations. I mean, it's really busy on a Sunday. I said, man, come on. It's my best friend's birthday. She's just in town until, the morning, or it was like Tuesday or something. And I said, please, you sure you can't squeeze us in anywhere? He put me on a brief hold. He came back to the phone and he said, I got you. I said, bet, my dog. I appreciate that. And he said, hey, but when you come, bring me a Powerade. I said, a Powerade? He said, yeah. I said, what color you want? He said, blue. I said, bet. All right. So I round up all the girls. It's 5 of us. Hop in the truck. We drive to Phil and Derek's. We get there, I think, around 1 o'clock. I think the reservation was for 1. We go in. Actually, we didn't go in. I hopped out at the valet. I think I was the last one to get out of the truck, but I had the blue Powerade in my hand. And I saw this man walk outside, and he was dressed as if he was a part of the staff at Phil and Derek's. And so I walk up to him and I said, are you Jared? And he says, yeah. He said, do we know each other? I said, here, your Powerade. And he was like, oh, you bought it. I said, yeah, I did. I said, I wasn't going to forget about you. So we broke contact. I go in, we get seated at the section. We eat, we laugh, we talk, we drink. A guy, fine ass man, walk up to me that was sitting at the bar. He was telling me his life story. Hey, baby, I work in the oil and gas field. I got that bread. I got this, I got that. And, I'm intrigued. I'm like, oh, okay, boo, take me out, do something with me. So Jared walks up and Jared says, hey, man, she already married. I look at my homegirls. I said, I'm married. I don't see no. I said, sir, I don't even know that man. I'm capping at this point, because of course I just brought you a Powerade, but we was in there for a couple of hours, and so he had spotted me from the side of the room talking to a whole nother man. So he comes over and he tells him that. So we leave Phil and Derek's. We go to the address. We party. I'm in there, bottles, just us doing what we doing, celebrating a beautiful woman and making it another year. So my best friend leaves that Tuesday, and I eventually start to have a fever. I go to the CVS Minute Clinic. I go in and I'm like, hey, I'm sick as a dog. I don't know what's going on. Y'all, what's going on? They check me. They say, well, you don't have influenza A or B. You don't have, pneumonia. They were just telling me I didn't have any of the normal stuff. But in 2020, nobody knew what the fuck COVID was. I had COVID, because guess what? Naya had came in from Dubai. Most people that were catching COVID at the very beginning, they was catching it from people that was coming from out the country. So, case in point, I was sick as a dog. I want to make it clear that I did not have Jared's number or any way to contact him after I left Phil and Derek's that day. We didn't exchange numbers, any of that shit. I'm going to just put that out there. So, of course, It's going to be parts of this story that's going to make me really look dumb. I ain't going to lie. I done told y'all this before. This is a disclaimer. So, I'm sick as a dog for a good 2 weeks. All right. One day, it fell on my heart to call Phil and Derek's again. So I called up there and I said, hey, y'all got a manager there by the name of Jared? And they say, yeah. I said, he there? They said, no, he not here. They said, is there a message that I could leave for him? I said, well, to be honest with you, I really want to leave a good review because he took care of us. He made sure that we had what we needed, yada, yada, yada. And so they said, okay, let me write your name and your number down, and I'm going to have one of the owners to call you back. So one of the owners did contact me back, like within the day. And just for this story, you know, her name is Maria. Maria contacts me and she says, hey, you know, I got your number and your name, and they told me that you want to make a review on one of our managers. And I say, yes, Jared was amazing. You know, I appreciate his customer service. We from Mississippi, so we know about being hospitable, and we just wanted to thank you and to thank him for just a lovely evening, a lovely, brunch or what have you. And she said, okay, I'm gonna definitely pass that message along. Thank you so much. We ended the call. I called back up there again. Because at that point, I was trying to figure out in my mind why that man had told that man that I was married. Where he get that shit from? He know something I don't know. So I called back. I called back up there. I said, hey, may I please speak to Jared? And the man said, hold on 1 second. Jared picked up the phone. Hello, this is Jared. I said, Jared, I don't know if you remember me, but this is Julian, the one that brought you that Powerade 2 weeks ago. He said, yeah, man, what's up? I said, how you doing? He said, man, I'm good. We just busy, man. I said, that's cool. I'm not going to hold you too long. I said, but I have a question for you. I said, I don't know if you remember this, but that Sunday that I came in there, a young man was speaking to me, and you walked up and you told that man that I was married. I said, now, why would you do some shit like that? I said, I was really trying to get that man number. And that's me. I'm ignorant like this. So I asked the question. I said, why would you say something like that to him? He said, well, dudes come in here all the time and they be, on women, and women really don't be interested. So, I felt, I could come over there and kind of relieve you a little bit because I ain't really think you was feeling it, nigga. I said, oh, okay. He said, but I got to get back to what I'm doing. Is there any way that I can get your number, or I can give you my number, and then, we can talk offline? I don't really want to be on these folks' phone. I said, oh, that's cool. He gave me his number. And so we started chit-chatting. We started talking. Maybe about a week later, that's when everything started to shut down here in Houston because of COVID. Now, part 2 is where it really gets going. 2 of the lies he told. So we exchanged phone numbers, and we immediately start texting. About a week later, that's when we find out that the city is on shutdown because of COVID. So our very first date, red flag number 1, because it's going to be several, just so you know, it's going to be several. First red flag, hey, if it's okay with you, I'm going to be at work all day. Is it okay if I pull up on you? We can do dinner at your house. You don't have to cook. We can order a piece of something like something like that. And I said, okay, cool. My son, the only son that I had at the time, which for this series, his name is Walker. Walker was with his dad that day, so I had the house to myself. It had to be a Wednesday or a Thursday. So I ordered the pizza, and he showed up. And so we sat, we talked, and we began to start having engaging conversations about who we were to one another, such as Hi, I'm Jill. I'm from Mississippi. I have one kid, yada, yada, yada. All right. When you initially have a conversation with someone, you don't expect them to give you any information that's not true, right? So this is how our conversation went. Jared tells me that he was originally from Louisiana. He was born and raised in Louisiana. His grandmother, raised him. He had a daughter. He had been married before, and his ex-wife cheated on him. Ex-wife cheated on him. And she actually lives in Germany on a teaching job. He told me that he had a house with his ex-wife in Humble, Texas. He told me during this conversation, this is our very first initial conversation over pizza. He told me that his mother was a physician. He told me that his mother had him at such a young age that, of course, his grandmother had to raise him. Of course, that's believable. Of course. He told me that he went to culinary art school at the Arts Institute. He stated that he had 3 vehicles, that his credit score was amazingly high. And he also told me that his lease was about to be up at his apartment and he was getting ready to move out. And one last thing that he told me is that he used to play football. Not arena football, but he used to play football in high school. Okay. Also, in addition to going to the Arts Institute for Culinary Arts, he also said that he graduated from U of H, which is University of Houston, with a degree in hotel management, I believe he said, hotel management. By him being in the restaurant business, I definitely believe that. Okay. As the time goes on, as the parts come, as they start to move, I'll be exposing most of it. And if I remember other things, I'll make sure to let you know. So, like I said before, this was our initial conversation with one another. I told him, I said, wow, that is impressive. That's a lot. He also told me that he had, money in his savings and stuff. He's a great saver. He knows he's financially stable, things of that nature. Okay. I said, okay, cool. No problem. That's awesome. I said, so the 3 cars, where are the 3 cars at? I mean, I've only seen you in the Camaro. And he was like, yeah, I keep those other 2 at my mom's crib because, I live in an apartment complex. So, I don't want to have all my cars over there. Okay, bet. That's understandable. I got you. I said 3 cars. That's crazy. All right. So the night goes on. I'm not going to sit here and cap one night. If you follow me, you follow me. That was a one night. And that man never left my house. He went to work. He would come back the next day. He went to work. He would come back the next day. So during the time when I met him, he was driving a Camaro. One night, he picked me up from Prospect Park. I got an Uber there. He got off of work at Phil and Derek's, and then he came and scooped me up. I noticed on that night that he had a pink tag on his Camaro, and there was a name on the back, and the name said Cece. So that was weird to me because his name was Jared. So we go home and I didn't bring it up or anything. So as time goes by, we basically shacking. But let me be clear. The first week that he started living with me, he was paying my bills. He paid my rent. He was buying groceries. He was doing for my son at the time. He was most definitely paying my household bills. And I was pocketing all my money. Most definitely was. So one day he comes home and now he's in a Nissan Altima. And I said, what happened to the Camaro? He said, I'm letting it sit for a minute. I need to get some tires on it or what have you. I keep spinning out trying to come home. So, I'm going to just let it sit. So now, I'm going to drive the Nissan. I said, okay, cool. I remember you saying you had a couple cars. I said, so what a Camaro at? He said, I got it sitting over at my mom's crib. I said, okay, cool. He says, so I really would like for you to meet my daughter. Now, he told me on one of our initial conversations that he goes and he sits at the grandmother's stop sign to get his daughter from school every day because her mother cannot do so. I said, wow, you pick up your kid every day? Like from the bus? He said, yeah, she's out there in Humble. So I drive out there to Humble, make sure she gets off the bus fine and everything. And then sometimes, I go and take her to get something to eat and then I just run her back to her mom's. But she's going to school in her grandmother's district. It never dawned on me to ask him why the grandmama can't get her off the bus. Never dawned on me. So I said, okay, cool. And so I noticed that he worked extremely long hours. And when I mean extremely long hours, I mean he would sometimes leave at 6 in the morning and he wouldn't be back till like 2 in the morning the next morning. When Phil and Derek's, they stay open till about 2, but he would say, no, we got inventory, babe. We doing this, we doing that. So of course, when you're in the restaurant business, I know, they have long hours. I do know that. So I ain't knock him. I ain't asked too many questions at the beginning because I was like, surely he working. He paying these bills. He working. I ain't worried about it. That's why I fucked up. I didn't ask shit. And I'm going to tell you now, when I get to part 3, you'll start to see the lies he told. Part 3, the lies he told. So one day I said, babe, since you're going to pick your daughter up, how about you bring her back to the house and we go get something to eat? I got Walker. Let's just go and get something to eat. He said, okay, let me hit her mom up. Let me make sure that's cool. I'm going to let you know something. So he calls me back about an hour later. He was like, babe, I'm bringing CC. Cool. So he brings CC to my townhouse at the time. And I say, all right, let's go to Toro hibachi spot around the corner, because my baby love hibachi, right? So Walker is excited to see this baby. However, CC is very quiet. She's very weird. And I hate to say this about a 7-year-old baby, but I know children, and I know when children are fearful. And this baby was scared. So I said, babe, does she talk? Like, is she okay? And he was like, yeah, babe, she just quiet. She quiet like a daddy. I said, okay. I said, that makes sense. So I said, baby, get whatever you want. I'm going to pay for it. Get whatever you want. Now, at this point in time, I did not know what I know now. So I'm embracing this baby because I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be with this man and we, having talks, because at this point we was having talks about a family. I said, I love kids. I'm accepting of her, hell, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what size this baby wear in clothes. That's just the woman I am. So we all eating. I noticed that she not eating. I said, what's wrong with her? And why did she get steamed rice? And all of us got fried rice. He was like, she don't like fried rice. She don't like fried rice. She don't like a lot of stuff. I said, okay, so she picky. That's cool. We go and we take her to an apartment over by the mall. I never forget it. And we drop her off. The next morning, that nigga wake up in a rage. I'm in the bathroom. I didn't know what was going on. So I come out and I say, babe, what's wrong? You good? I'm thinking there's something going on at the job. He in a hurry. He putting on clothes. I said, babe, what's wrong? He said, man, her mama come texting me talking about, I lied to her talking about it was just going to be me and her going out to eat last night. And Cece went home and told her mama that I was out to eat with you and your son. And now it's the whole thing. And now she won't even let me see my daughter no fucking more. Man, I'm so tired of this shit. He throwing shit. And I said, man, wait a minute. Hold on. I said, now, woman to woman, I could holler at her for it. Like for you. I can, talk to her because maybe she is disrespected. She ain't met me yet. Don't bring nobody around my motherfucking baby if I don't know you, And so he said, no, babe, that's bullshit. That bullshit. He going in. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to let you handle it. I said, but you got rights to your baby, right? Like you able to see your baby because you told me you was on child support. Yeah, man, I'm on child support. I said, okay. Matter of fact, every time I look like that, just know it's something behind it when I look like that. I said, okay, well, child support order, you get visitation rights. She can't deny you your baby, man. I said, and, I understand that you still trying to get this baby your last name or whatever because of how the situation went down. Let me explain to you how he told me the situation went down of him finding out that Cece was his baby. He used to work at Buffalo Wild Wings for 12 years. That man said that a woman started working at Buffalo Wild Wings and she and him had a thing. She ended up getting pregnant, but he didn't know that she got pregnant because she left Buffalo Wild Wings before she got pregnant. Obviously, they had a one-night stand. And he said 4 years later, she walks into Buffalo Wild Wings with this daughter and said, meet your daughter. This is your daughter. He claimed that they went and got swabbed, got a DNA test, and it was his baby. He said he is still working to get the baby last name, his last name. But right now, she got her mama last name. Okay, cool. Now, before I met this baby, I said, let me see a picture of it. He showed me a picture of it. I said, oh my God, she mixed. Damn. I said, okay, what she mixed with? He said, she mixed with Mexican. I said, okay. I said, show me a picture of her mama. He showed me a picture of the mother. But it's always a naiveness to their madness because when he showed me her page, it was her Facebook page. And I always remember names. I'm going to remember names, numbers, street numbers, all that shit. I'm going to remember all of that. So I remembered her name. So by this time, I said, okay, well, let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you. Let me know. Another thing about Jared is he never wanted me to meet his family. He would always say, my mama work all the time. She ain't never, ever, available. And if she is, she in third world partying with her little hood friends. He would say shit like that. Then he said his daddy wasn't in his life. So, because he was in and out of prison all the time. And his grandmama raised him. So, he didn't really know what his daddy was. I said, okay. Out of the blue one day, he got in contact with his daddy. And he said, babe, you want to meet my dad? Absolutely. Absolutely, I want to meet your father. We went to go meet his daddy. I took pictures with his daddy. Matter of fact, I had this same dress on when I met his daddy. Sure did. By this time, mind you, this was maybe 3 or 4 weeks after I had met his daughter. I said, hey, we got something to tell you. He needed to see his daddy because he wanted to tell his daddy that he had a baby on the way. Whole time that we was there, I ain't never said shit about the daughter that I had met. Never said nothing because we was too excited about our new baby that we were about to have. He said, man, you gonna go and put a ring on it and everything. And he told me, hell yeah, you know, this my wife now, shit. Okay. So his dad started calling and checking up on his new daughter-in-law. He called me one day. He said, hey, baby, how you doing? I said, Pop, I'm good. I'm good. I said, everything going well. We got a doctor's appointment set up after we leave Mississippi, because at this point, I'm finna take homeboy to go see my folks in Mississippi, because at this point, you got to meet Mr. Daddy. You got to meet my daddy, okay? And he was like, okay. I said, and speaking of, I forgot to tell you when I saw you that I had met your other beautiful granddaughter. He said, Chucky daughter? I said, Chucky? He said, yeah, my daughter Chucky. I said, no, not Jared, sister. I said, Jared baby. He said, Jared baby. I said, yeah, Jared daughter, you know, CC, man, stop playing. He said, Jared ain't got no motherfucking kids. I said, man, Jared has a 7-year-old daughter. Maybe you confused because, you know, you've been in and out and stuff. And he said, man, I ain't been in and out that damn long. And to be honest with you, he said, I'm going to just tell you this. My nephew told me when I was locked up that Jared is a stone cold liar. He said, so I'm going to tell you right now, ain't no way in the world Jared would have had a baby without telling his mama or me. Ain't no way he would have done that. He said, have you talked to his mama? I said, I ain't never met his mama. He said, exactly. Now, I got to go to church, but part 4 will be coming tonight. Stay tuned. Thank y'all so much for allowing me to go to church. Jesus. All right. I'm gonna dial this thing back. You guys have a lot of valid questions, and I know that I left a lot of things out, but I did not do it intentionally, because I'm sitting around here trying to give y'all a low-level overview of my story when I really supposed to be giving y'all every specific detail. And I apologize for that. So let's get back to it. At the very beginning, I told you guys that the brunch occurred on January 5th of 2020. After the brunch, I got extremely sick. My best friend left that Tuesday. By that Wednesday or by that Tuesday night, I was already running a fever. Went to the Minute Clinic. They told me, hey, it ain't the flu, none of that stuff or whatever. Nobody at this time knew about COVID, okay? I'm almost deathly ill on the couch for a good 2 weeks. My kid wasn't here with me or anything, so I was basically trying to fend for myself. I started feeling a little bit better closer to maybe the end of January. I remember where I was. I remember making the phone call to Phil and Derek's and asking for him and to say, hey, I want to put in a good review on him. Then I remember getting the call back from the owner or the co-owner. And she told me, hey, we appreciate that. Boom, boom, boom. I called back shortly after. This was not in the same day, guys, but I called back shortly after. And I got his number. I'm not going to say that it was the same night, but it was shortly after. He said, hey, I'm working like crazy. Let me come to your house. We're going to order pizza. We're going to talk it out. And that's what happened. Every day after that night, he did not leave my townhome, meaning that he would go to work and he would come back. Okay. That one-nighter did produce a little beautiful 3-year-old. It did. Okay. I just want to make that clear. I'm really not too concerned about the dates right now or the months or whatever, because I'm trying to make sure that I give you guys this high level overview so there won't be any discrepancies in the story, because I am telling 100% truth on this shit. Can't even sit here and make this up. When I met the daughter in February. We went out for hibachi because someone commented and said, well, the shutdown didn't happen until March, sis. Cool. I appreciate that, because see, the shutdown for me happened when I didn't go back to work after I got sick. Okay, so the Houston shutdown probably happened in March. But at some point when people started getting sick, early or mid-February or early or late March. Or late February. Phil and Derek's was doing like small capacity. Like you couldn't go in there and do brunch on the Sunday like we normally do. And the DJ in there, that shit wasn't happening. So like I said, again, I will probably be off about the dates. I apologize about that. We took the daughter to eat. And then shortly after I met his daughter, I met his dad. Okay. I met the dad in February. All right. When I met the dad, I knew when I met him that I was pregnant. When I met the daughter, I did not know that I was pregnant. Okay. So with that being said, I want to start part 4, but I also want to clarify something else that I did not tell you guys. I met his dad in the latter part of February, but on February 28th, he proposed to me on the side of the bed. There was no, exotic engagement or whatever, like, hey, will you marry me? You're about to have my child. I want this for life with you. This is for lifers, all that shit. Yes. Okay. I said yes. I remember going to the nail shop that day, Facebook blowing up, Instagram blowing up. Yeah, she getting married, yada, yada, yada. I remember all of that. Okay. So now we're going to enter into how the rest of the conversation went with Dad, but we're also going to tap into another thing because now I am going to talk to you about the ex-wife and the story about that. Part 4 of the lies that he told. So I quickly get off the phone with his daddy and I remembered that I saw the girl's Facebook page, the alleged baby mama. So I go to her Facebook page and I start stalking. I did find a picture of Cece on her page and there was a comment that was on that girl's picture and it was from an older African American woman. That lady commented and said, "Look at Granny's baby." The woman had Cece's last name and the mom had Cece's last name. So at that time, I knew ain't no way this could be this boy's biological baby. I waited for him to come home and I said, "Jared, I have a question for you and please believe me that if I ask you a question, I already know the answer to it, so please don't lie to me." I said, "Is Cece your biological kid?" That boy looked at me and he said, yeah, that's my baby. I already told you about, the Buffalo Wild Wings." I said, "I hear you." I said, "But let me tell you what I found out today. Today, I contacted your father and we had a conversation. And that conversation went a little bit about him asking how I was doing. And also I told him that I had met Cece and he had no idea who Cece was. He told me that you don't have any children, Jared. So are you going to be honest or I need you to tell me what's going on?" That man looked at me and he said, "That ain't my baby." He said, "But I was with her mom for some time. And I was about to get ready to try and help raise her because her dad is in jail. Her mom is still legally married to the father of that child. And I got so close to her and her baby that I told her that I would take responsibility as a man to help her raise her baby." And I looked at that man and I said, "So you mean to tell me that you went and picked up another man's baby and claimed that child as your own and brought it to this situation? And why would you do that? Why would you do that?" I mean, because, I said, "But you also told me that you was on child support. So that was a lie too? Like you're not on child support? I give her, I pay half of her rent." I said, "You pay half of her rent? You pay half of this woman's rent, Jared. Yeah, you know, I'm doing the best that I can to try to help her. Y'all, all of that was a lie. That man was not paying nobody's half rent. He was not doing that. He was not doing that. So that was the very first lie that I found out quickly. But as this series progresses, you will find out how many lies this man has told me. And they don't stop there. Part 5 coming up. Part 5 of the lies he told. So time progresses. We ended up going to Mississippi. He definitely meets my family. We go to Piccadilly. He tells my parents at Piccadilly, like, oh yeah, you know, I used to be a very big dude. And I'm not going to lie, that man was heavy. Over 350 pounds easy. Now he's about 186 in current time. 186 pounds. So he was telling them about how he got weight loss surgery done, how he's been able to maintain it, because believe it or not, the boy could not eat a full Lunchable. So I knew he had some type of gastric sleeve or something like that. He told them the same things that he told me on the very first night. How he was raised in Louisiana, how, you know, his grandmother, you know, helped raise him, and that was his mom, until he found out that, you know, later on down the line that his real mama was his alleged sister, which she was there his entire life, from my understanding. And he just went down the line and he was telling them everything that he had told me. On the way back from Mississippi, we came the Beltway, so we passed through the Atascocita-Humble area. He said, babe, you want me to take you over there to where me and my ex-wife used to live? I said, you talking about like your old house? He was like, yeah, because I know at some point we probably going to be looking for houses, so I kind of want to show you the house that we stayed in, because I want a much bigger house this time. I said, okay, that's cool. We drive into a subdivision and we landed on a random street. Now, after the whole baby situation with Cece, I left a part out about Cece, but I'll get back to that. We go down a random street and he points out to a house and he said, babe, that's the house that we used to have. Now, I want to tell you guys the story about the ex-wife and the situation with him. He told me, remember in one of those parts, I told you that he said that the wife cheated on him when they were married. So the storyline about the ex-wife is that he was working out of town because he was training for different Buffalo Wild Wing restaurants that were up and coming in different local cities like Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. He's doing that. He claims that the man next door was sleeping around with his ex-wife, and he came home one day, unexpected. His wife was home from work. She was not expecting him to be home. He told me that that man next door was sitting on his couch, on Jared's couch, holding his remote, watching his TV, butt ass naked. This man told me that they got into a tussle. The next door neighbor tried running out of the front door, and he ends up shooting him in the leg. I asked Jared, did he go to jail for that? And he told the officers that it was self-defense, and they let him off. He did not do any jail time because of that, because the man was technically in his home. I believed that story. I did, guys. I believed it. And I know it makes me look like a fucking fool, but I did. I believed it. I really believed that that woman cheated on him and he shot that next door neighbor in the leg. I really did. We pull off that street and we head home. Before we could make it home, I was on my phone on Harris County Appraisal District. I was smart enough this time. I'm dumb about a lot of shit that's gonna occur on this series. But I was smart enough to get the house number, the name of the street, subdivision, all of that. I punched it into HCAD, property search. The same owners have been owning that house since 2011, since that lot was sold, since the bricks was put on that motherfucker. It was already there. Nobody, no other couple had that house. I did a little bit more deeper research. I took the owner's name and I plugged it in Facebook. I got to the point where I searched so hard and so long that not only did I find the owners of that house on Facebook, I found the picture of when they posted on Facebook that the lot was sold, and they was standing there where there was foundation still on that motherfucking lot. The house ain't even been built. They were a newlywed Caucasian couple. And that was not a picture of Jared and his ex-wife. We made it home. I got out that car. I came upstairs. I got in that bed and I put my head to the back of that headboard. And he said, "Babe, you feeling okay?" Because mind you, I'm pregnant. And I looked at him and I said, "I have a question about that house." So, with that house, when you move there, he told me. I said, "You moved there, it's on so-and-so date." I said, "And you and your ex-wife used to live there?" "Yeah, babe, that's where we lived." I said, "Okay." I said, "So who is Ashley and Justin?" He said, "I don't know Ashley and Justin." I said, "Because Ashley and Justin been owning that house since 2011. He said, "Babe, where you get that from?" I said, "Because this HCAD." And I turned the phone around. I said, "Because this is HCAD. You never owned that fucking house. So who is Ashley and Justin if they're the owners of the house?" That man told me, "Babe, man, I don't even want to tell you this." I said, "Tell me what?" "All right, man. When me and my ex-wife split, Ashley and Justin let me crash in their garage. They got their garage set up like a man cave. And to be honest with you, babe, you saw the boxes in the garage when we passed through there. That's actually where I stored my shit at." I said, "Jared, I don't even believe that you know Ashley and Justin." He said, "Babe, I used to work with Justin at Buffalo Wild." Again, this another Buffalo Wild Wings. I said, "Jared, yeah. I don't know how much more of this I could take. Babe, I promise you. I promise you ain't lying." I said, "Okay, cool." He got so upset and so angry because I kept saying, "All right, cool. All right, cool. Don't even worry about it. Okay, cool." He kept getting so angry that he ended up storming out of that house and he was gone for hours. I have no clue where he went. So now that we have talked about the supposed house that they lived in, let me get to the part about the ex-wife. So I asked him, I said, "And you say that you got married when?" He told me a date. Might have been 2015, 2016. I said, "And you said her name was Pierce Wood." He told me her last name. We're going to say it's Pierce Williams. I said, "Why ain't no divorce decree for you and Pierce?" He said, "We got married in Louisiana." I said, "Oh, okay, y'all got married in Louisiana." I said, "Okay, I ain't checked Louisiana." He said, "Oh yeah, if you check the records, they there." I said, "Okay, bet. I'm gonna check them. I'm a damn sure check them." He said, "Why are you asking me all of these questions?" I said, "Because you done lied about having a daughter. You done lied about the house. Now, if you do have an ex-wife, I really kind of want to know now what really happened with y'all, because ain't no way in the fuck you done shot somebody. Ain't no way you done shot nobody." So now let's move into the ex-wife story. Part 6, the lies he told. So Before I found out about all of the lies, he explained to me about how he met his ex-wife. He told me that him and his ex-wife, they met in high school. They were actually high school sweethearts, went to prom together, the whole nine. They had been together for years. He told me that shortly after they graduated, they decided to go ahead and get married down in Louisiana. And he told me that him and her were unable to ever conceive a child due to the fact that he was very obese in the earlier part of his life, and also up until around the age of 28, because he did tell me that he got the gastric sleeve surgery. He told me that it was impossible for him to have kids. His stuff just didn't work. And I said, wow, that's crazy. He said, and to be honest with you, it is so crazy that you got pregnant by me, because I didn't ever think I would be able to have kids. I said, well, I mean, you done lost a lot of weight, babe. Like, I'm trying to be encouraging. I'm trying to let him know, like, hey, you're not big no more. Because at that point, I saw that there was a lot of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Low self-esteem there. So I was like, I don't want you to start feeling insecure about yourself. It's okay. So we move on. He talks to me about the whole story, about what I said in part 5, about how he caught her cheating with the man, yada, 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 So as I have now currently found out that he was never married, I approach him about it. I say, hey, I could not find a divorce decree or marriage license for you and your ex-wife. I said, so of course I have told you this before, and I'm going to tell you this again. If I ask you a question, I already know the answer to it. So you might as well go ahead and let me know. Have you ever been married in your life? That man looked at me like he always do. And he sat with that shit. And he said, yeah, we got married. Yeah, babe, I told you I was married. I said, okay, cool. All right, cool. So once again, I had to tell him, I talked to your daddy. Your daddy said you ain't never been married to Paris. He had to flip that shit so quick. He said, I don't really want you talking to my daddy. I said, and why is that? He said, because my daddy lie a lot. Go figure. I said, okay. He said, of course my daddy ain't gonna tell you about Paris, because I caught him trying to fuck Paris at a house party. I said, do what? He said, yeah, the nigga trying to fuck his own daughter-in-law. I said, come on, bruh. He said, man, my daddy get high, he get drunk, he get fucked up. And to be honest with you, he will try to fuck you too. I'm going to just be honest. And I said, no, I don't get that from Pop. I don't get that from Pop. Now, I do understand that people have a past. There may have been times where his daddy may have gotten a little too loose in certain situations, but I did not believe that his daddy tried to hit on the ex-girlfriend. And at this time, he was saying his ex-wife. I did not believe that. So I ended up finding Paris on Facebook. I did not approach her. I did not communicate with her at all. But I did go to her Facebook page, and I did notice that she was currently still living in Houston, Texas. She did have on her profile that she was single. There were no pictures of her and Jared. She was currently in Houston. Like, there were pictures of her at different places in Houston. Different places. She was not in Germany. She was not in Germany. Not at all. And she does not even look like the type that would even be a teacher. I really don't know what her profession is, but she did not look like that type. So he said, and speaking of Paris, she was at my job 2 weeks ago. I said, at your job doing what? He said, she was up there with her homegirls. I said, but I thought you told me that she lived in Germany. He said, man, she told me that she was back for a couple of weeks. He's still lying. Still fucking lying. I said, he here for a couple weeks. If she here for a couple weeks, I said, that doesn't even make sense, Jared. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. So, and all in all, I did get him to admit to me that he had never been married. He ain't never had no kids, and he never did live in that house. I did get him to admit that. And I also told him, I said, Jared, I do know that you were born in said hospital at said time and said date. I said, so right now, this is the time where we really stop the lies, because for whatever reason, you have a problem. And I'm not the type of woman that you have to lie to, because I would have liked you regardless without the lies. Now, granted, people, I do know that there were several red flags before we got here. I already know this. In the back of my head, I knew that I didn't want to be a woman with two baby dads. I ain't want that for my life. So I tried working with him through it. On the next part, I will tell you about how we tried to do counseling, premarital counseling, and how they went. 7, the lies he told. So now we're moving into that place where we really need to do premarital counseling. And honestly, we need to do personal counseling. He needs his own therapist. I need my own therapist. And I told him, I said, I am willing to walk and to work with you through anything, but you cannot continue to keep lying to me. You cannot keep doing this. I told him that I was unaware if he had been lying his entire life, but I know that I am going to continue praying for you. I still wanted to be married. I still desired to be married so badly. And I stuck with that man through premarital counseling, through all of that. So we started going through counseling. And I'm not going to lie, the lady handled the both of us with a lot of grace. She triggered a lot of demons within that relationship. She really did. Up to the point where he told me, he said, hey, I think she's biased. I really want a male to do our counseling. Let's not go to her anymore. And I agreed. I told him, I said, if you feel that way, I do want the both of us to be comfortable. So if you do feel that she is biased, or, if you don't think she's the best fit, we can most definitely move forward with another counselor. So we tried allowing my cousin and his wife to counsel us. And then that's when I broke the ice and I told them, y'all, this man is literally an habitual liar. Like, he is a liar. And I don't know if I am taking the right step here. They told me that I should basically investigate on why he's lying like this. And what, like, in other words, ask him, why does he feel like he needs to lie to you? And then build from there. And they worked with us. Now, his reason to all of us for why he was lying was because he knew that in order to keep a woman of my caliber, he knew that he was going to have himself together. He knew that. And what dawned on me so crazy was that I had dated men that didn't have a dime to their name, and they still was honest and they still was trustworthy. And then I turned around and got crossed up with a man that did nothing but lie to me. He was paying some bills, but I deserved better. So, and all in all, marriage counseling did not work for us. Well, premarital counseling, it did not work for us. I prayed. I got through it. He went to every doctor's appointment with me, for the kid. He was there every step of the way. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? Like, I'm going to take this chance. It was stupid. It was the dumbest thing. But once again, this was on me. This was totally on me. So I knew that I was dealing with a liar. I knew the things that he lied about. That was one thing. But I also told him, like, hey, don't lie to me about nothing else. Like, let's not do that. So now I want to take you into meeting his mom. Part 8, the lies he told. So at this time, I tell him like, hey, I really want to go ahead and meet your mom. We at least at this point, anywhere between 2 to 3 months in the game. I said, hey, I really feel like it's time that I meet your mom. You've met my family. I've met only your father. I've met a couple of your cousins when we was over there visiting with your daddy. So let me meet your mom. He tells me, babe, remember I told you my mom is a doctor and you know her availability is a little tight. I said, okay, cool. I said, but still, I really do need to meet her. Now, prior to me meeting her, when he told me that his mama was a doctor, when I found out his mama name, I did a Google search because he told me that she owned her own practice and she did, it was like she was like a primary care physician. Like she did everybody, babies, you know, adults, you know, she was just a PCP all around, but she had her own practice. Now I looked up all practices in Houston, Texas and surrounding areas. Her name did not come up as being a physician. Her name did not come up as being someone that owned their own practice. So I was concerned about that as well. And so he contacted her. He never told me like a date and a time that we were going to meet. One Saturday, I was at home. I probably was laying in the bed. He called me because he was at work at Philadelphia, and he said, babe, my mom, she gonna pull up. If you want to meet her, you know, you can come on through. Bet, I'm on my way. Put on clothes, got up there, and his mama came roughly shorter after I got there. Excuse me. I said, I walked outside, I went and met her, and I said, hi, it's so nice to meet you. He said, mama, this is Jillian, this is my mama. I said, it's really nice to meet you. She looked me up and down, and her first question to me was, who is your OBGYN? Ma'am, hello? How you doing, ma'am? Who's your OBGYN? I said, Dr. Kathy Sander at Kelsey Sebo, one of the best in the nation. Okay, I know some folks over at Kelsey Sebo. I can always make a phone call if I need to. Now, at the time, I'm looking because I'm saying to myself, oh, maybe she's just concerned about the well-being of her grandchild. And if something were to ever happen, maybe, you know, if I needed assistance or something, she could make a phone call. That's not what that was at all. Not what that was at all. After she asked that question, I said, oh, okay. And she said, so I have another question though. You and him, y'all met pretty fast. You already pregnant by him? Trying to insinuate that there is no way that I could be pregnant by her child. Ma'am, it done been 2 or 3 months. We have been back to back, ma'am. So yeah, this is baby. This most definitely his baby. Ain't nobody else been at my house but your son. Yes, ma'am, this is your baby. So that had already put a bad sour taste in my mouth about her, because now you asking inappropriate questions in our first conversation at that. So I had a little trouble trying to have respect for a woman that was so disrespectful to me at the very first attempt. So later on that day, he comes home, or later on that night, he comes home, and I say to him, you know, hey, I didn't really want to bother you about this when you was at work. However, it really bothered me about what your mom said when I met her. And he said, well, what did she say? Because I really wasn't kind of paying attention. And granted, he was not. He was at work, so he kind of left us alone a couple of times. And I mean, after she said what she said, I kind of like walked off, and I was like, all right, I'm about to go ahead and go on back to the house, because that's weird. I remember calling my mama and telling my mama, hey, I met Jerry mama. Boom, this is what she said. My mama was like, what type of bullshit is that? My mama, y'all ignorant, and I'm gonna get to her too. So, I told him, I said, I ain't really appreciate that. He asked me what she said. I ran it to him, and he said, babe, I had already told you I really didn't want you to meet her. He always referred to her as her first name. He never really called her mom. He never did. So I said, okay. I said, I understand that you told me that she really didn't like any of your past relationships or past women or whatever. However, I am going to be the mother of your first child. Like, does that not ring a bell to her? I said, is she not gonna be like the grandmama type, you know, somebody that we would be able to rely on to like help us with the kid. He said, oh yeah, she'll be good for that. I'm sure she's pretty excited about the baby, but this all just happened so fast. Granted, it did happen so fast. Okay, cool. I said, no problem. So I get on the phone, you know, me and his daddy, we chopping it up, and I tell his daddy, I said, you know, hey, you know, I met his mom. You know, where does she work at? Because Jared told me she's a doctor, and she had the audacity to be asking me all about my physician name and stuff like that. I said, so, you know, what's her deal? He said, man, that's just who she is, bro. That's just who she is. She always been like that. He said, but wait a minute now. She ain't no damn doctor. I'm going to tell you that now. He said, if anything, she's an LVN. I said, an LVN? He said, man, that girl a damn nurse. She ain't no, he said, I don't even think she's a registered nurse. I said, no, bruh, this woman got to be a doctor. She got to be a doctor. Like, ain't no way this man that told me that his mama is a damn doctor and she's a damn LVN or an RN. His daddy never lied to me. Do you hear me? His daddy never lied to me. Come to find out, his mama was an RN going to school to be a nurse practitioner at the time that I met him. When I tell you, when I had that conversation with his daddy, I waited a couple of days or so. And I asked him, he was driving me somewhere. And I asked him, I said, your mama a doctor where again? He said, remember, you know, I told you she got her own practice or whatever. I said, your mama RN. Your daddy told me your mama RN. He said, no, my mama most definitely a doctor. I said, okay, babe. I said, call your mama right now. Call her on the phone right now. And he did. But he did not put his mama on speakerphone. But I seen him dial his mama number. He said, Mom, what you tell me you was in school for? She obviously answered. I have no idea what she said to him. And she asked him, why you asked me that? He said, I just couldn't remember what you told me you was going to school for. He hung up. I said, so is she a doctor or not? He said, she's in school to get her master's in nursing. I said, so she's not an MD. Your mama ain't no doctor. I said, so that's not making any sense to me. Once again now, that's another lie that he told that he could have killed. Why in the world would you tell somebody that your mama is a full ass MD when she ain't nothing but a damn RN? Why would you say that? Part 9, I'm going back to the timeline of our relationship, but I had to get that out about me meeting his mama. Part 9, the lies he told. I stated at the very end of part 8 that I was going to get back to the timeline of our relationship so that I can really get down to the nitty-gritty of why I am doing this testimony. I do want to clarify a couple of things before I start part 9, however, because I do see all of your comments, the negative ones and the positive ones. To address a couple of the negative ones, I understand that you may be confused. Maybe you're expecting me to be exactly like Miss Risa Tisa. That's not going to happen. I'm a totally different woman and I have a totally different story. It may sound similar, but trust and believe, hands were thrown in mine to the point where almost was some killing happening. So I'll get to that. But, you know, let me just be clear that I'm going to tell this story the way that I'm going to tell it. And if you can't stick around for it, try to go and watch somebody else, because it looks like a lot of women now are coming out with their own story. So thank you for sticking around how you have, but I'm going to keep pushing forward. Another thing that I want to clarify, I see a lot of people are still confused about the whole car situation with the tag. That was his mama's car. That was his mama's tag. Okay. The alleged baby was not his real daughter. His dad told me that, and I confirmed that that was not his real baby. I also confirmed that he was never married. I have also confirmed that he never owned a house with his ex-wife. I confirmed that his ex-wife was not in Germany teaching. I have confirmed a lot of things so far. So if you hadn't gotten caught up, try to watch parts 1 through 8. And now we're going back to part 9. All right. So Moving along with the timeline. It's all screwed up, guys. It's extremely screwed up. I don't have dates. I'm gonna just be honest. Just keep in mind, my initial meeting with him was January 5th. By the end of January or the beginning of February, we met at my house to have pizza, to have a discussion. We did have a one-night stand that night. He never left. He gradually started moving things in over a course of time. February 28th, we got engaged. In March, sometime in March, I met his mom. Let's not forget, I had already met the dad in February. And so around April, May-ish, we are trying to do premarital counseling. So that's the timeline of the events right there. Also in March, we did go to Mississippi to meet my family. So that's the timeline right there. Short, sweet, simple. Don't add none to it. Don't take none away from it. It's cool. We got married June 29th, 2020. Before we got married, there are a couple of things that I want to note before the marriage started. Both of us have always had two cellular devices, one personal, one for work. I assumed that his second phone was always from work. He told me that the co-owners of Phil and Derek's bought that phone for him, and that's his work phone. That's where he get his work emails. That's where customers can call to make reservations in with him, leave bad reviews, whatever the case may be. I literally believed all of that. Come to find out, that was a lie. That was another phone that man had that he was paying the bill on, because I could never understand why that phone kept getting cut off. He could not handle two phone bills, because mind you, he's still paying all of my household bills. He paying everything. However, I am the type to go through the phones. I am. So I'm going to get to that a little bit later. So before marrying him, I sat in the tub one night, and this will be extremely hard for me to get out. So just bear with me. The night before I married that man, I had already been praying. I had already been asking God, please fix him. And I know that's the wrong prayer. I do. I ain't no weak Christian. Now I'm pretty put together, but at that time in my life, I was vulnerable. I desired to be married. I really did. I said, God, I have been praying for this man. I have been praying for this relationship. I have been praying over this baby that isn't here yet. I do really, really care for him. And I really think and really know that he cares for me and my son. And I was talking about my oldest at the time. I said, so I need a sign. I need you to let me know if this is my husband or not. Immediately in my spirit, I felt no. I heard an audible voice tell me, this is not your husband. No. My mom was in town. My mom and my sister, they were at the house with me. And I never told them this. But God told me no. He told me no. And that next day, I still went along with it. And the sign that God gave me after telling me no was him coming home, and we had a disagreement about something. And he looked at me and he said, you ain't got to marry me if you don't want to. That should have been my chance there to say, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm probably not. We can go ahead and call all this shit off. I was the one that paid for the ceremony at the judge's office. Because we didn't get married at a courthouse. We got married at a law firm. Y'all know that attorneys are judges. So, or judges are attorneys. I'm sorry. So we got married at his law firm office. We could only have a maximum of 12. His dad and his stepmom were the only two that showed up. His mother was not in attendance. But God had already showed me in so many ways, from the lies and from the behavior that was coming, that he was not meant to be my husband. I moved extremely fast with this man. I fell for the okie doke. I was stupid. I was confused as well. I was extremely vulnerable. And my heart felt that we could make it work. My heart felt that. Don't ever listen to your heart. Don't ever listen to your heart. Listen to God. Listen to God, because God will never, ever fail you. And now I would like to move on to part 10 to take you through, after the ceremony, everything that occurred until the end of my divorce. Part 10, the lies he told. So, right after the ceremony, we go to this restaurant in the Woodlands. It was a seafood restaurant. We got married on a Sunday, and my mom and my sister, they had to fly back out. So it was just me, him, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law, like the stepmother-in-law. I guess that's how you would phrase it. And so we're there. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm in la la land. I'm like, you know what? I'm finally married. I'm Mrs. such and such. And I said, this feels amazing. We went home that night, do what lovers do. And, you know, we moving on with life. I'm currently working from home. You know, I'm pregnant. My boss at the time was like, hey, I don't want you to come in. I don't need you to be exposed. You know, I want you and the baby to, you know, be okay. So as time moves on, he was still actively working. He would come home, you know, things were on the up and up. Then all of a sudden one day I got a messenger message from a young lady. For purposes of this story, her name is Erica. And Erica reached out and said, would you divorce your husband if he was cheating on you? And she just kept typing, like kept hitting, and it went to my message request, so I didn't initially see it at first. And so she was like, I really need you to contact me. I need you to hit me up. Is there any way that I can get your number? She just going. And I'm like, man, who is this woman? Who is this? So by the time I get to like her Facebook page or whatever, I get her full name. And I asked Jared, I say, Jared, do you know this woman? He tells me, yeah, that's a stalker bitch. I said, a stalker bitch? He said, yeah, man, I was fucking with that girl for a little minute, man, and she just downright crazy. She done hit up every woman that I done been with since her. Don't pay her no mind, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay. And I said, so how she get my information, because you got her blocked on. He told me she was blocked on everything. He said, man, I don't know, she probably went to my daddy page, seen your name, because his daddy did post pictures nonstop of me. Always posted pictures of us together, posted pictures of our marriage, posted pictures of me. When I would post pictures, he would repost the pictures. Just, I mean, was my dog for real, still to this day, my nigga. And so I said, okay, that's kind of strange. So I responded back to her, being the woman that I am, coming woman to woman. Hey sis, I'm Mrs. such and such, Mrs. MRS period, being the biggest dumb bitch in the world. I said, I know my motherfucking man, he go to work, he come home, he ain't, you know, I already know that you a stalker. I know this, that, and the third. And so I blocked him. This woman did try reaching out to me on Instagram later on, you know, in the story, all of that type of stuff. And I am going to get back to her. So something led me to start going through his devices. He did have two phones, one personal, one work phone. So I would always go through his phone when he was asleep. The reason I started going through his phone was because the phones would start vibrating in the middle of the night. Who calling you at 3 o'clock? Who calling you at 3? People were texting and contacting him from text-free numbers. I would try to call the number back. It would say, welcome to text-free, or however the little audio go when they don't answer the phone. So I'm like, all right, that's strange. Who are all these numbers, these random numbers? I had no idea who these people were. And at the time, I didn't even know if it was multiple people. I just thought that it might have been the crazy woman that he claimed was a stalker bitch. Come to find out, that wasn't the case at all. It wasn't the case. So I would still go and visit him, like at the restaurant and things like that. And one night he came home and he said, babe, I'm about to start applying for other jobs. I said, what's wrong with Phil Derrick's? He was like, to be honest with you, babe, I ain't trying to be up there no more. I said, okay. He said, they working me like a Hebrew slave. You know, I need to make adjustments because you about to get ready to have this baby, because my due date was November 15th. He said, so I need to make sure that I am at a place where I can get FMLA, because believe it or not, he did tell me that at Phil Derrick's, he did not have any insurance benefits whatsoever. And I believed him because, I mean, it was, I ain't gonna even say to come in because y'all will fire me up about that. But, you know, more businesses that are us's, they don't offer a lot of benefits. You know, sometimes you can barely get paid. Sometimes. So he started actively looking for other positions. He finally landed at Fish City Grill in Sugar Land, Texas. We at the time lived on the border of Cypress, Texas. So Sugar Land is a hike. It ain't that bad, but it ain't down the street either. Phil and Derrick's wasn't down the street either, but you know. All right. And so he says, babe, I got an interview. They're going to be paying me, I want to say that man told me they were going to be paying him $65,000 a year. It was going to come with benefits, insurance, FMLA. So it worked out perfect. I said, okay, babe, that's perfect. He said, so when this lease is up here, I will commute right now, which he did. He commuted for a good 4 or 5 months. He said, I will start commuting, but when the lease is up, let's try to look for a house, and then, you know, maybe we can find something that'll be closer out that way. See, the thing about a narcissist is they'll try to isolate you from your family, because my family lives out here in Cypress. Yes, I'm from Mississippi, but my Mississippi family, they're out here. My help is out here. I said, okay, babe, we married. So, you know, I'm like, all right, I'm going to support you. You know, we going to do such and such. So he starts working at Fish City Grill. When he starts working at Fish City Grill, one beautiful day in October, I am headed out for not only a nail appointment, but I am headed out for to vote. It was voting time. I don't even know who I was going to vote for, but I was going to vote. I get to the third stair in the townhome. I slip and fall, and I roll over. And when I picked my leg up, my foot was hanging like Dak Prescott was. I had broke my ankle in 3 places. There was no one at home with me. He was in Sugar Land and Fish City Grill. The God thing about this is that I had my key in my hand that had the fob to the garage, so that anybody that needed to come through, they could come through the garage, whether there was the paramedics, anybody in my family. So I immediately called my cousin, Coco. And Coco said, hey, what's up? I am in pain. I'm crying. And I tell her, I just fell down the stairs. I'm about to give birth by November 15th. It had to be like October, maybe 20th. Don't quote me on a date. And I said, I just fell. I fell down the stairs. She like, oh shit, I'm on my way. She calling 911. They both make it around the same time. They get me up on the stretcher. She's on the phone with Jared. She's like, hey, she just fell down the stairs. He's panicking. He's like, okay, I'm on my way. I'm coming to get there. I'm going to be there. I get to the emergency room. It takes him quite a while to get there because he's coming from Sugar Land. And I'll finish the story in part 11.